The apex cubs had been starving themselves for days. The pack mothers wailed, the instructors shouted, and even the high matron of the Phrexan Pride had visited the nursery dens in person. Nothing worked. The cubs were the children of warriors. Six-limbed, razor-fanged creatures bred for war across the spiral arms. But these younglings cowered and refused to eat, snarling and trembling at anyone who approached. The reason was simple. The cubs' previous handler, a Phrexan soldier named Vortek, had been killed in a training explosion. The trauma lingered like smoke in their nostrils. They refused to eat. They refused to live. That was when the Galactic Rehabilitation Council decided, in their infinite wisdom, to assign a human. Sergeant Mia Torres arrived with nothing more than a duffel bag and a smile that could melt steel. Every alien in the observation room whispered that this was a terrible idea. Humans are too soft, one Phrexan growled. Their scent will only confuse the cubs, said another. They are prey animals pretending to be predators, sneered a third. Mia ignored them all. She stepped into the den, no armor, no translator drone. Just her voice, and the faint smell of chocolate from the ration bar in her pocket. The cubs hissed. One swiped the air with claws that could shear through metal. Mia didn't flinch. She squatted low, bringing herself to their eye level, and said softly, "Hey, they're little nightmares." Her translator pinged, but the cubs didn't seem to care. They tilted their heads, curious. She pulled something from her pocket, a squeaky toy shaped like a bone, taken from a military dog unit. She squeezed it once. Squeak. 8 sets of glowing eyes blinked. Mia grinned. Yeah, that got your attention, huh? They didn't attack. They didn't hiss. One of the cubs, the smallest, inched forward, sniffing cautiously. Mia offered her hand, palm open. When the cub pressed its muzzle against her skin, Mia whispered, "Who's a good murder puppy?" The phrase meant nothing to the Phrexans watching, but to the cubs, it carried a strange warmth. Her tone was affectionate, playful, and something primal in them responded. Their ears flattened, their tails twitched, and within seconds, the cubs that had starved for days were tumbling over each other trying to get her attention. The den erupted in squeaks, growls, and laughter. Mia rolled onto her back, covered in fur, claws, and purring war beasts. "Who's a good murder puppy?" she kept saying, voice muffled by alien fur. "Yes, you are. Look at you, big scary galaxy eater. Yes, you are." By the 3rd day, the cubs were eating again. By the 5th, they were training. And by the 7th, they were obeying commands, not from the Phrexan instructors, but from the human. "Sit," Mia would say, and 8 apex predators dropped instantly, tails wagging. "Stay." They froze like statues. "Go." They leapt into synchronized combat drills with military precision. The Phrexans were horrified. "She has domesticated them." One instructor gasped. "That is not combat discipline." "Tell that to the cubs," Mia replied, tossing a ration bone across the arena. The largest cub sprinted, snatched it midair, and returned it like a dog playing fetch, except the bone was made of reinforced titanium. Months passed. The cubs grew. Their fangs could now pierce starship hulls. Their claws could rip through armor. But when Mia entered the training field, they still sat down obediently, waiting for her words. She had imprinted on them, not through dominance, but through affection, humor, and trust. The Galactic Council didn't know what to make of it. Phrexan warriors were supposed to fear nothing and love no one. Yet these apex predators now purred when a human scratched their ears. The media called her the Beast Whisperer Soul. One day, a crisis struck. A Phrexan warship crashed on the moon of Tet Har Prime, trapping an entire unit of soldiers under debris. The cubs, now battle-sized adolescents, were deployed for the rescue. But the soldiers panicked when they saw them, thinking the beasts were out of control. Then, over the comms, Mia's voice came through. "All right, my murder puppies," she said calmly. "Time to show them what good looks like." The cubs roared as one and tore through the wreckage, not killing, not raging, but rescuing. They lifted girders, pulled trapped soldiers out, even shielded the wounded from falling debris. When it was over, the battlefield was silent. The once feared beast now stood protectively over the Phrexan survivors, tails swaying like satisfied wolves. The High Matron herself approached Mia afterward. "They are different," she said quietly. "Not beasts, not soldiers. Something else." Mia smiled. "They're family." The matron stared at her for a long moment, then nodded. "Perhaps that is what makes your species so dangerous. You turn even monsters into kin." Years later, legends would spread of the Phyrexian Vanguard, a unit of warriors who refused any command but one human's. They fought beside her, lived beside her, and died beside her. Their war cry echoed through the stars. For the pack. And every time they charged into battle, someone swore they heard a faint echo through the comms, a human voice saying, almost fondly, "Go again, my good murder puppies." Yendi,